What's the VIP tour of Graceland like? Come with me. First thing I needed to do was pick up my ticket at will call. You'll walk into the welcome center and the regular will call is straight ahead, but the VIP will call is to the right of regular will call. You get this fancy pass on a lanyard. Don't lose this pass because that is your key to skip lines. My VIP tour guide, Tina, also gave me headphones connected to a receiver so that she wouldn't have to shout if we were in a crowded, loud space. Our group then walked out the side exit where staff is set up to take pictures of you, and you have the option to purchase it later towards the end of the tour. After that, we went through security and then waited for the shuttle to take us across the street to Graceland. By the way, you'll pass by the Lisa Marie on the way across the street. My group was really fun and was a mixture of ages. There were 3 sisters and they were so cute. They were older, they had white hair, and they wore matching t-shirts that said Sisters Trip. For VIP, the shuttle goes up the driveway and to the left of the house. We got out at the carport, and here's where we first start the tour. This is the door to the annex. The annex had been a garage that was turned into a living space when Elvis was alive. It was a 2-bedroom and I think 2-bathroom apartment. The annex has since been gutted and turned into the receiving room for VIP pass holders, and it has Elvis memorabilia in it. This display has Vernon's wallet. Its contents include a Hertz card, 2 MasterCards, one from the Bank of Commerce, a Sears credit card, a card that reads at the top, "This is to certify Vernon Presley is a member of," but the bottom is cut off, so I can't read it, and a card that says Honorary Tennessee Sheriff's Association number 04289. I don't know what that green and yellow card is. This might have been the pictures in Vernon's wallet. These are the Shelby County and Denver Police Department cards that were signed by Elvis. These are Elvis's City of Tuscaloosa and Shelby County police badges. This says gold-plated Beretta with mother-of-pearl handle, gold-plated .38 caliber double-barrel Derringer with mother-of-pearl handle. This display has a turquoise ring, which I didn't mean to cut off, oops, Elvis's gold security card, custom gold key for his studs, Elvis's silver cuff bracelet. This display has a gold American Eagle necklace and a calendar necklace which features Elvis's birthstone, Garnet. This is a necklace that was presented to Elvis from RCA upon the release of his album Worldwide 50 Gold Award Hits Volumes 1 and 2. Elvis's Hamilton electric watch, gold and diamond $sign ring, Elvis's gold EP initial ring. We were then let out the same door we came in through and walked back through the carport and walked around to the front of the mansion. The grounds so far are beautiful. So many bright flowers. Fun fact, there's a Graceland live feed camera right around here. It's in the middle of this yard directly in front of the porch. They don't want you walking on the grass, but there's a short cement walkway that will place you about 10 or 15 feet away from the camera. So pull up the website on your phone and you can walk up to the camera and wave and see yourself. I'll put the link to the website in the description of the video. VIP goes straight up to the porch to start with the tour without having to wait in line. If you have a regular ticket, the bus drops you off here and you have to wait in line here. The mansion is much smaller than what I thought, even the porch. Here are the lion statues out front. Tina said Elvis had security bars placed on the windows for safety. This is the first thing you see when you walk in. The stairs, the chandelier, just beautiful. To your left is the dining room, but we'll get to that later. I kind of jumped ahead of the tour. The first stop of the tour is to your right, which is the living room, and beyond that, the music room, which we don't have access to. These drapes cover a door that had originally taken you out to a covered walkway, but that covered walkway is now the trophy room. It is indescribable how beautiful this space is, and just to be standing under the same roof where Elvis and Gladys and Vernon and Dodger lived, oh my goodness. I love all the little details. The fireplace, the lamps, the pictures. Look at this ashtray. I wonder how old it is. Here's a picture of Vernon. Tina told a story about it, but I didn't catch most of it because I was taking pictures. A very nice man, Jim, in my group offered to take a picture of me in front of the living room. After exiting the living room, we made a right down the hallway to see Dodger's room, but on the tour they call it Vernon and Gladys's bedroom. This is the console table in the front hallway. These stairs, I can't tell you how much I loved the stairs. Classic and regal. So I had always thought when you walk up the stairs, directly to the right there was a door that leads into the bedrooms. I had no idea there was a second set of curved stairs to go up. Oh, that's Jim, the man who took my picture. He shared a story with us on how he was Elvis's first fan. Jim grew up in Tennessee, and when he was younger, his dad operated a VFW. Jim said Elvis was scheduled there, and it was his last performance before he blew up in popularity. I think he said Elvis's next performance was at Overton Shell Park. Anyway, Jim's dad asked Elvis if he wanted a drink. Elvis didn't drink and asked for a 7-Up instead, so Jim's dad said, "Jimmy, go get him a 7-Up." Jimmy got the drink and handed it to Elvis, and Elvis shook his hand and said, "Thank you." And with that, Jim says he became an Elvis fan. He said Elvis was very nice. Jim actually comes to Graceland often, even though he lives in Texas now. Fun story. This is the door that leads to the back staircase down to the kitchen. Look at how cute the ceiling lamp is in the hallway. At the end of the front hall is Minnie Mae's bedroom, or Vernon and Gladys's bedroom. Okay, where I'm standing, Minnie Mae's room is to my right. To the left is the hallway that leads from her bedroom to the kitchen. This is the route she'd take in the mornings for breakfast or for her meals, according to Nancy Brooks's book, Inside Graceland. This door is where table linens and such were kept. When Elvis shot the toilet upstairs and Nancy downstairs noticed water coming down the walls from the ceiling, this is the closet she ran to grab linens to throw on the floor. This is Vernon and Gladys's / Minnie Mae's room. This looks to me like the room was reverted back to how it was when Gladys lived in it, because I don't see Dodger's rocking chair unless it's hidden behind this wall, which is where Nancy said it was located. But Nancy also says in her book that in 1967, Dodger's room was light colored with purple accents and had 2 wall sconces, one on each side of her bed. Looks like the sconces may be these? I thought they were lamps at first. I'm confused. Anyway, here's the closet. There's a mirror in it that reflects the dresses hanging in the closet. Remember in Baz Luhrmann's movie Elvis, when Elvis was crying in Gladys's closet after she passed away? This would have been that closet. The bathroom is located immediately to the left when you walk in the room. It's across from the closet. The next stop on the tour is back down the hallway, around the staircase, and to the dining room. This sign says, "This is the formal dining room where the evening meal was usually served around 9 or 10 p.m. Elvis, sitting at the head of the table, would often host 10 to 12 friends and family around this table for dinner and conversation. The china on the table is Noritake in the Buckingham pattern and is Priscilla and Elvis's wedding china. And the flatware is towel in the Chippendale pattern. The Italian chandelier is one of 3 Elvis bought in 1974 and matches the one above the stairs. The portrait to the right is of Priscilla and then 2-year-old Lisa. Lisa inherited Graceland and all her father's things. She and her children would visit often, and when they did, they have their meals served at this table. Elvis was always ahead of the times, and while it's commonplace today, even back then Elvis had a television in every room. The dining room was also the place that the family put up their Christmas tree each year. It was placed in the window behind Elvis's chair. Many of the family Christmas photos show Lisa opening her presents and toys in this room, including her tricycle that she rode around the table on the marble floor that Elvis had installed in 1961. Here's the television. It's located directly to the left when you walk into the dining room. I don't know why it's on the floor. This is Elvis's chair. I love the decorations. Tina said this was Elvis's favorite picture of them. After the dining room, we walked into the kitchen that's adjacent to it. Look to the right when you walk into the kitchen and you'll see the back staircase that leads up to the second floor bedrooms. This is the staircase that Anita Wood was coming down when she overheard Elvis talking about how he didn't know who to choose, Anita or Priscilla. This sign in the kitchen says, Elvis and his family and friends kept various hours and routines. Elvis had cooks and maids on staff that came and went in 8-hour shifts. Someone was always on duty as meals were often cooked to order. The meals were all simple Southern cooking. They often included things like steaks, pork chops, meatloaf, or fried chicken. And of course, lots of cheeseburgers. Elvis loved homemade banana pudding that was always available. Elvis redecorated several times, but today remains as it last was done in the mid-1970s with the harvest gold and avocado green that was popular at the time. The stained glass light fixtures were bought at the same time as the crystal chandeliers. Elvis had all the latest appliances, including a very early microwave oven that you can see on the countertop. Here on the table is the security camera monitors that Elvis and his staff used to keep watch on the grounds. There are monitors also in Elvis's bedroom suite. The phones are where the incoming calls were answered. Here's the oven, the stove. You can see the TV in the background where Nancy and Dodger and Delta would watch As the World Turns. This is the door that leads into Aunt Delta's room, but it's not part of the tour. This door leads out to the jungle room. There's the microwave. The clock is stopped at 4:31. This is the counter where Dodger and Delta would eat their breakfast, or they'd sit with Nancy Brooks and have coffee or watch TV. Nancy describes this as the long white counter. It's much smaller than I imagined. Here's the fridge. Around this corner is another fridge where they would put stuff for Lisa. It was called Lisa's fridge. Okay, so I fast forwarded a bit on this tour, but this is Lisa's fridge. Remember that door that was to the right of Delta's room that led out to the jungle room? This picture was taken on the other side of that door, so the jungle room is behind me. Back in the kitchen, if you look to your right past the back staircase, there's a cupboard with dishes and cups in it. As you exit the kitchen, the phones and monitors are on the left. These are the closed-circuit monitors that Nancy and the others watched as the procession for Elvis's funeral went down the driveway and out onto Elvis Presley Boulevard. Tina told us each phone had its own purpose. I believe the top phone was to ring other phones in the house. It was like an internal line. And the bottom phone was for outside lines to call in and out of. When you step out of the kitchen, you are on the right-hand side of the jungle room. Here's a little bar. These stairs lead to an upstairs deck. Here's the left side, but we'll get to that later. The next stop on the tour is the basement. Right here is the staircase that leads back up from the basement. So there are two staircases that access the basement. So in order to go downstairs to the basement, from where I was standing looking at the jungle room, you need to turn right, basically a U-turn, and the stairs are there. I didn't get a picture, but the stairwell is pretty narrow, and going downstairs, the ceiling and walls are mirrored all the way down. By the way, if you are in a wheelchair, I don't believe there's any way you can access downstairs without actually having to walk. Once downstairs, to your left is the TV room and the pool room is to your right. We started in the TV room. Here's what Nancy Rooks wrote in her book about the TV room. Quote, "Back in the 60s, Elvis had a number of his plaques and awards hanging around the walls of what is now the TV room down in the basement. That was before it was redecorated to its present blue and yellow lightning bolt designed by Linda Thompson in the 70s. Eventually, as more and more trophies came in, it was decided to turn the first floor room into a showcase area, and that's how it became known as the trophy room." End quote. So in essence, this TV room used to be the trophy room. This sign says, "Elvis loved football and knew all the professional players' teams, numbers, and positions. Elvis got the idea for the TV sets from the former President Johnson, who used to watch all three network news programs. Elvis thought it would work great to catch all the football games at once. He also enjoyed variety shows and situation comedies. To the right of the TV is a built-in jukebox that can hold 100 singles and is wired to speakers throughout the house. To the left is part of Elvis's personal record collection. He loved all kinds of music, but especially Southern gospel music. Above the TV sets is a pull-down screen, and behind the framed fabric panel on the wall by the bar is a projection room where a projector allowed Elvis to screen movies in this room. He also rented out theaters on a regular basis. On the right wall is a lightning bolt, which is a part of Elvis's personal logo and motto that you usually see with the letters TCB. It means taking care of business in a flash or quickly. On the left wall, the second gas-burning fireplace in the home. The mirrors again make the room look larger and more spacious. The yellow bar/soda fountain made this room great for parties and entertaining. So when you walk in, the bar is on your right with stools, and it's on a raised platform, so watch your step. This is just past the bar on the right. Couches on your right. The TVs are straight ahead. The fireplace is on your left. Across from the bar is this door. That is the door to Charlie Hodges' room, but it's not part of the tour. The next stop is the pool room. This sign says, "Elvis purchased this pool table in 1960 and enjoyed playing with his family and friends. The tear in the felt happened one day when one of his friends tried a trick shot that didn't work out right. Memphis interior designer Bill Eubanks helped Elvis with the 1974 redecorating. Most of the furnishings were chosen at that time, as well as the 350 to 400 yards of fabric on the ceiling and walls. The furniture is not antique. However, the Louis XV style chairs and the art prints work well with the turn-of-the-century European theme of the room. This is the third fireplace in the house and the only wood-burning one. However, after the fabric was installed, it was not used because of the fabric. I guess someone didn't think that through when they added the fabric." So funny story Tina told us, Lisa and her friends used to play in here throwing pool balls at each other, which I'm sure a lot of us know by now. Lisa accidentally broke off one of the red scallops on this lamp. See? Now it's time to go back upstairs. From the pool room, we exit through a short hallway to the right of the room. Here's the door to the laundry room. Here's the artwork on the wall. At the end of the hall, make a left to go upstairs. Remember this staircase? The jungle room is to the right of it. This is what it looks like from the other side coming up. When coming up the stairs, look to your left and you'll be on the other side of this door. It is here that you can look into the back part of the kitchen and you can see Lisa's fridge. After coming up from the basement, you'll be on the left-hand side of the jungle room. The waterfall is on this left wall. Some monkey decorations. This is what the right side of the jungle room looks like behind the bar. This is the green phone Ginger mentioned in her book. Ginger wrote, quote, "This is the jungle room," George announced, gesturing around the den as he paused to answer a green phone buzzing on a nearby table. As I watched George listen to someone on the phone, I heard laughter echoing from the dining room, and it struck me how comfortable everyone was in Elvis's home, end quote. This is the large chair that Nancy spoke about in her book. She wrote, quote, "That chair was so large that the far right window as you face it from inside the room had to be removed to get the chair inside. One of the workers, using a screwdriver while trying to force the window casing out of its frame, chipped the window glass, which had to be replaced. It was said that it took several days before Vernon stopped complaining about how much it cost to have that window replaced," end quote. She also said Lisa would fall asleep in the chair and they would keep a blanket close by to cover her when she did. Fun fact, Tina said this teddy bear actually belonged to Lisa and it was her favorite. Here's the waterfall, which was not on. Nancy said in her book, quote, "Elvis loved the waterfall, which had been designed and installed by Bernie Grenadier, Marty Lacker's brother-in-law, but ended up not using it very often because it tended to splash water on the carpet when it was turned on. We were constantly mopping up the wet carpet around it after it was first installed," end quote. After the jungle room was the trophy room, which we had to exit the house for. But first, the hidden door to Aunt Delta's room. I didn't remember to get a picture of it. Nancy wrote in her book, quote, "It is located behind the curtain wall immediately to your left as you walk down the hallway with the jungle room on your right after having come up the stairs from the basement. In fact, if you run your hand along that curtain wall to your left as you're walking toward the annex of the house, you'll feel a recessed opening behind the curtains. That is where the door was originally located, which led into that bedroom," end quote. In this picture, it would be on the left, but behind me. I did run my hand along the curtain, and there was an opening in the curtain, but I didn't peek into it because I didn't want to get scolded by security or Tina. This door leads you back into the annex. So you have to exit the door to the right and it takes you to a covered walkway, which was part of the carport originally. Here's what you see on the left when you walk out. Tina said this wall did not originally exist. Looking to your right, these are the windows to the jungle room and here's the top deck. Tina said it was out here and from the top deck that Elvis and the guys would shoot Roman candles at each other and also fire off guns. The house is now on the right and Vernon's office is to the left, but in between you'll see a pasture. This is the racquetball court. Vernon's office is the next stop. This is Lisa Marie's swing set. Remember how Tina said Elvis would fire off guns? What do you think this is in the slide? This is the entryway to Vernon's office, a sign Vernon made after Priscilla moved in. "Please read and observe. No loafing in office. Strictly for employees only. If you have business here, please take care of it and leave. Vernon, Presley." Here's Vernon's desk. This is the desk that Elvis sat at during a March 7th press conference after he returned from Germany. Remember the one where he talked about the girl I left behind? Here's the right side of the office. Look at this Elvis bust. This is a cool painting. Connected to the office is the two-room smokehouse. This sign says, "This building was part of Graceland Farms well before Elvis owned Graceland. It was possibly used as a pump house at one time, but later used by Vernon as a smokehouse to cure meat. Elvis also decided that it would make a good firing range, and that's what it was for a short period of time. Other than that, it was used as a storage area by Elvis and his family." This is the front room. You can still see hooks in the ceiling from where they would hang the meat. The display in this room is of Elvis's birthplace, which I covered extensively in my Tupelo visit video. Some jugs. This is the second room in the smokehouse. Here's what Nancy wrote in her book. Quote, "Elvis and his boys had long used the old well house connected to the office and back as a shooting range. Earl Pritchett and Mike McGregor had banded several large telephone poles together and placed them right inside the door to the well house. Paper targets would then be placed against the telephone poles and the shooting would begin," end quote. This says, "These bullets and casings were swept from the floor and dug out of the woodwork of this room. They remain from the brief period in the 60s when Elvis and the guys used this room as a firing range." This is what Nancy wrote about Priscilla learning how to fire a gun. Quote, "To her credit, Priscilla did eventually conquer the art of the handgun, but not after ripping quite a few bullet holes in the old well house. I can still see Priscilla firing and Red West standing behind her, yelling, 10 feet to the right." You can still see some of the missing chunks of brick and concrete that have long been painted over as you exit the well house on the tour. Just turn around and look above the doorway as you exit the building, end quote. Here it is. When you exit the smokehouse, you're outside looking at the back of the mansion. The next stop is the trophy room to your left. As you walk down the path to the trophy room, this is what you see to the left. the pasture. This house is called Mariah's house after Lisa Marie's pony. It's newly built as part of the Presley for a Day tour. Part of that tour is enjoying a meal in that house. It's supposed to be an amazing view from it. The path will have you make a slight right into the trophy room, or what they call the trophy building. This room is actually attached to the house by way of the music room at the other end. This sign says, as far as people can remember, this bike, now completely restored, was hanging by a clothes hanger in the corner of the smokehouse. Elvis once was asked if he was sentimental about anything, and he said, quote, I keep souvenirs. I have boxes of them. I still have some of my first fan letters. I've kept the first bicycle I ever had. Daddy bought it when I was 11, made weekly payments on it. It's stored now at Graceland, end quote. Could it be? The bike hanging in the corner of the smokehouse was actually Elvis's first bike. Tracing this bike's serial number, we established that it was first produced in 1946 when Elvis was 11, and it was sold to Tupelo Hardware by Shapley Hardware. Tupelo Hardware has been unable to find any proof of purchase, but it is pretty safe to say that all the information points to the fact that Elvis's dad purchased this 1946 Shapley Special Columbia bicycle for Elvis, making this Elvis's first ride. There's a family tree. This is Dr. Hunt's birth records book. This contains the documentations of the births of Jesse Guerin and Elvis on the morning of January 8, 1935. This page says 920 in the top right corner because that's the number of births thus far Dr. Hunt was involved in. This says county, Lee County. Election precinct, East Tupelo. Name, Elvis, which he spelled E-V-I-S. Aaron Presley. Sex, male. Child legitimate, yes. Twin, triplet, or other, twin. Number and order of birth, 2. Father's name, V.E. Presley. Color, white. Age, 18. Birthplace, Itawamba County, Mississippi. Occupation, laborer. Mother's maiden name, Gladys Smith. Color, white. Age, 21. Birthplace, Pontotoc County, Mississippi. Occupation, housewife. Number of child of this mother, 2. Number of children of this mother now living, 1. Oh, that's sad. Date of birth, January 8th, 1935 at 4:35 a.m. This is Gladys's dress and shoes. I love peep toe shoes. They're so cute. You can see a little tear in her dress right here. This is her jewelry box. Gladys's identification card. Phone number, 347-185. My name is Gladys Presley. Street number, 185 Winchester Avenue. City and state, Memphis, Tennessee. In case of accident or serious illness, notify Vernon Presley. Address, 185 Winchester Avenue. This is Gladys's applicant identification card for the Tennessee Department of Employee Security from January 1952. The occupation is filled in as, quote, curtain folder. This is Elvis's student discount card that expired May 31st, 1952. Gladys saved this program from Elvis's high school graduation ceremony. There are also some Humes High School yearbooks from when Elvis attended. This sign says, slot car track and cars. This building was first home to an oversized slot car track used by Elvis and his friends. These pieces are just a few that still remain in the Graceland archives. So Tina said Vernon was somewhat of a hoarder. He didn't throw away anything. This is a 1947 income tax return for Vernon and Gladys. They earned $1,913 that year. This is Gladys's 1953 W-2. Here's a 1953 income tax return. They earned $3,295.32 that year. This is a note from Travis. It reads, my dear sis, I will drop you a card to say I'm still okay. Hope you are still okay. Gladys, tell Cletus I never got anything from her. Don't know if she sent any or not. Well, I will close for the present, so answer real soon. Love, Travis. This was Elvis's nightstand from the Audubon Drive house. After the front room of the trophy building, you walk through a doorway to a long hallway. These are invoices from Golden's of Memphis. George Golden is who Gladys hired to decorate Graceland. This reads, grateful appreciation to Elvis Presley for his untiring interest in the welfare of and financial assistance to the sick and underprivileged people of Memphis, Tennessee. May his future be blessed. Tina said each little plaque names the organization Elvis made a donation to, and this board alone totals over $50,000 worth of donations. This is a bill dated April 30th, 1957 from C.G. Richardson Engineer to Vernon. It says, for setting line stakes and grade stakes to construct new stone fence along front of Graceland property, $60. Then at the bottom it says, Mr. Presley, I have a use at my house for the old wooden fence running from the house out to the highway along the south side of Graceland. As this fence must be removed anyhow, I would like to offer to remove it completely and give you credit on this bill for $30 for the materials in the old fence. If this meets with your approval, you may call me and let me know or simply return your check for 1/2 of the amount above. If you have other plans, just send me the full amount. Thank you. This is Vernon's canceled check to the company dated May 13th, 1957 for $60. I would think Vernon would want to take the credit. He was so stingy. This is the Zenith remote control from Elvis's bedroom. This is Elvis's black leather wallet. I couldn't really see what was in it. It looks pretty worn though. This is the invoice and 2 checks for the installation of a pool at Graceland in 1957. Looks like the pool was $7,900. Look at how pretty Graceland is with the snow. This is the deed to Graceland. This is the sales contract by Realtor Virginia Grant for the purchase of Graceland by the Presleys dated March 1957 for the sale price of $102,500. This is the invoice dated August 21st, 1957 for the purchase and moving of the lion statues that sit in front of Graceland. Elvis purchased these statues from a home on Cherry Street in Memphis. Tina said he saw them and had to have them. Cost $1,000. This was a Bible gifted to baby Lisa Marie. It was originally given to Elvis, who then gave it to Gladys, who then gave it to Patsy Gamble, who then gave it to Lisa. This is one of Lisa's baby toys. How adorable is she in this picture? This is Tiffany baby silver gifted to Lisa by her grandparents. That's the end of the first hallway. You make a left into another hallway. This TV was a gift from RCA to Elvis for the sale of 50 million records between the years of, I think it says 1956 to 1960. This sign says, The Presley Wedding. While stationed in Germany, Elvis met Priscilla Beaulieu, the daughter of an Air Force captain. On May 1st, 1967, she became Mrs. Elvis Presley when the two were married at the Aladdin Hotel in Las Vegas. The following February, they welcomed their only child, a daughter named Lisa Marie. For Elvis, these were some of the happy times in his life. Displayed here are items from Lisa's nursery. Here's her crib, her dresser, her pictures. How cute is this stroller? The wall on the left displays fan art. This one stood out to me. This sign says, Elvis's upstairs office. This desk and furnishings are from Elvis's upstairs office. The books you see are from his personal library. Lisa Marie remembers seeing her father reading often. Quote, he had stacks next to his bed. He read all the time, always of a spiritual nature, always looking, always searching for something, end quote. Lisa Marie Presley. The desk was given to Elvis by RCA and is equipped with a radio, TV, and 8-track tape player. This was state of the art for its time. Here's what the desk looks like from the other side. I like this picture of him. This says, Elvis redecorated Graceland several times throughout the years. This exhibit showcases the decor in the mid-1970s. The red plush sofa is from a living room set that Elvis purchased in 1974. It was that same year that he chose red for the living room, dining room, and foyer deco. Elvis planned this redecoration with Memphis designer Bill Eubanks and his girlfriend Linda Thompson. These are some of their horses. Mariah, Lisa's pony. Here's a bill of sale for a horse named Conchita's Gold, dated February 7th, 1967. I don't see a price anywhere though. Here's Rising Sun. Lisa in a white coat and cap. So cute. At the end of that hallway, you make a right and go down the last hallway in the trophy room. These are the law enforcement badges that Elvis collected. This says, State of Colorado Organized Crime Strike Force. This identifies Elvis Presley, captain of Denver Police Department, as investigator, dated January 28, 1976. Young Elvis. I can't tell if that's a real gun. This is the last display before you exit the building. Ginger wrote about this painting in her book. She and Elvis were in the trophy room one night, and she wrote, quote, at the back of the room, we paused in front of a full-size painting of a younger Elvis. He was portrayed against a gold sky, dressed all in white and standing among some clouds. An artist in Las Vegas had painted it, Elvis said, marveling. He basically took one look at me and drew it in detail. Man, he really captured my likeness right down to the veins in my hands. So Ginger said Elvis asked her if she wanted it, and she said it wouldn't fit in her home, so she asked if she could store it at Graceland in the meantime. I'm so glad she didn't take it off the Graceland grounds. The door out of the trophy room is directly to the left of this painting. Once you exit, you find yourself next to the pool. It's so serene out here. Over here is Elvis Presley Boulevard. Over here is the meditation garden. Nancy wrote in her book of Elvis and the pool, quote, he would spend hours lounging around his pool during the hot Memphis days. It usually fell on me to make sure all his things were laid out for him by the pool. His routine included Hawaiian tropic tanning lotion, 2 large beach towels, plenty of ice water, and cotton balls to cover his eyes. I always made sure to have sandwiches and chips out for him as well. Occasionally, he would have me hook up a small fan next to his lounge chair. I can still see him relaxing in his lounge chair by the pool, with the fan keeping him cool, end quote. From the pool, turn to your left to go to the racquetball racquetball for the next stop. This says, Elvis took up racquetball in the early 1970s and enjoyed the sport so much that he decided to have his own court built. The personal sports complex, complete with a weight training area on the ground floor, full-size racquetball court, and a jacuzzi and dressing rooms upstairs, was completed in 1975. Elvis spent approximately $200,000 on the building and took so much pride in the effort that he personally supervised the construction. So when you walk in, to the left is some couches, and I'm assuming this is the exercise area. It has a pinball machine. This building is much smaller than I thought it would be. The tour doesn't include the second floor with the dressing rooms nor the roof, but Ginger said there is an outdoor jogging track on the roof. To the right is the bar. It has a sink and it looks like an intercom and a telephone. Keep walking and straight ahead you see the lounge area and then the racquetball court. To get to the lounge area, you go down several steps, but before the steps to your right are the stairs that lead up to the dressing rooms and the showers. I thought I got a picture of it, but I just remembered I didn't because a staff member was standing there. Go down the steps and this is on the wall to your right. Look how cute this is. The stairs to go upstairs is right here. The piano. Ginger wrote in her book, quote, Elvis got tired, though, and he left the court to come over and sit down beside me. We then watched Billy and Joe play for a bit. When they came off the court, Elvis went over to the piano and started to play, singing Unchained Melody and then Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain. When he finished at the piano, he walked over to one of the stationary bikes and pedaled for about 10 minutes, end quote. She said they left back to the house around 6 a.m. Elvis would later pass away that morning. I get so sad looking at this piano. I didn't see the exercise bike Ginger mentioned, so maybe it's upstairs or they just took it out completely. Here's the inside of the court. Here's what it looks like from the inside the court looking back into the lounge area. This was Elvis's racket. When you exit the racquetball building, here's what you see once you step outside. The horses access the front pasture by way of a pathway here that leads to the front of the property. When you exit the racquetball building, look over the fence and to the left behind the fence. It's kind of obscured by trees now, but this is Vernon's house on Dolan Drive. Nancy and Ginger said in their books that you could access this house through a gate in the back of Graceland. Now, it's time to walk to the meditation garden. It's located next to the pool, so as you're walking from the racquetball building, the house and pool are on your right and the garden is to the left. There's a little sitting area with a well here. Continuing on the walkway just past the well and straight ahead, you can see the fountain. The walkway will turn left, and on your left, you'll see Gladys's original grave marker. Here's the statue Elvis had made for her that was moved from Forest Hill Cemetery to Graceland. Her little nose is chipped off. A few steps away on the right is the family's resting place. This is Jessie Guerin's plaque. Next to Jessie is Gladys. Next to Gladys is Vernon. Here's Elvis's eternal flame. Here he is, Elvis Aaron Presley. I can't put into words the emotions going through me. To go from seeing the tiny house that he was born in just the day before this day to his final resting place is indescribable. I really don't know how to put it into words. I said a prayer and thanked him for bringing so much joy to his family and friends and us, his fans. Next to Elvis is Minnie Mae. I love that her children are named on her marker. Nash Lorene Pritchett, Delta Mae Biggs, Gladys Earline Dowling, Vester Lee Presley. On the left bottom corner it says, in memory of Vernon Elvis. Across the way are Lisa Marie and her son Benjamin. There are little stones at the feet of each sarcophagus, and I saw that people wrote messages or their names on them. There were flowers and pictures of mother and son too. I wish I would have known we could leave flowers at these graves. I would have brought something to leave for each family member there. It's so peaceful here and serene. I'm glad the family is here together. At this point, the house tour is over. Next is the archive building for VIP pass holders. But before we go, I wanted to share a funny story. Remember the 3 elder sisters in my group? I overheard them talking about how Priscilla wants to be buried at Graceland. One of the sisters said, there ain't no place to put her. Another said, put her in the water. Look, there are horses in the front pasture now. After the meditation garden, we walked and stopped in front of the mansion, and Tina took photos of each of us in front of the house. I love looking at the mansion, all the little details. It's just so pretty. We walked back to the carport, and we got into another shuttle to go to the archive building that's located at the back of the property. It's pretty much a straight shot from the carport to the back. So I thought I got a video of what's known as the back entrance. It's the one Elvis would use to go in and out of the property without being noticed, and like at the front gate. Nancy says it's actually not in the back, but it's a side gate. So I'm standing in front of the archive building at the back of the property. You can see the back fence. The mansion is in this direction. There is a gate right here that I'm pretty sure is the back entrance. Anyway, back to the archive building. I don't know how many rooms there are in total in this building, but we only got to see 2. Tina unlocked the front door, and we walked into a room that had images of Elvis all over the walls. There are rows of benches, and we were told to have a seat. This is when we get to hold something of Elvis's. This locked cabinet is where they keep some of his personal effects, and I'm pretty sure that they rotate the item that you get to hold, I don't know, maybe every few months or something. You don't actually get a choice of what to hold. It's only one item. For us that day, it was the necklace that Elvis wore during the Aloha special. Tina gave us each white gloves to wear and then called each of us to the front to hold it individually. I didn't want to give it back. Look at how pretty this is. It says Elvis. There were other things in the cabinet that Tina showed us, but we weren't allowed to touch. Here's the set list for the Aloha show. One of his necklaces from Hawaii. An itemized bill from the Hawaiian Village Hotel in Waikiki. These 2 rings. The one on the left is Elvis's. Tina said it was black onyx, if I remember correctly. The ring on the right was one he had given to Linda Thompson, and I wonder how it ended up back with his estate if it was a gift to Linda. Did she give it back? This is Elvis's prescription glasses. Tina said he was nearsighted. Here's the Bureau of Narcotics and Dangerous Drugs badge that Elvis got Nixon to issue. These cufflinks say, Seal of the President of the United States. Elvis got these from Nixon too. This is a letter from Nixon. It says, Dear Mr. Presley, it was a pleasure to meet with you in my office recently, and I want you to know once again how much I appreciate your thoughtfulness in giving me the commemorative World War II Colt 45 pistol encased in the handsome wooden chest. You were particularly kind to remember me with this impressive gift, as well as your family photographs, and I am delighted to have them for my collection of special mementos. With my best wishes to you, Mrs. Presley, and to your daughter Lisa for a happy and peaceful 1971. Sincerely, Richard Nixon. Elvis's address is listed as a box in Madison, Tennessee, not Memphis. This is a ticket to the Pacific War Memorial performance. This letter is from Elvis to Tom Parker. It says, To Colonel Tom Parker, Hawaiian Village Hotel, Honolulu, Hawaii. Dear Colonel, I'm looking forward to doing the big show there in Pearl Harbor on Sunday, March 26th to help raise money for the memorial to be constructed on the site of Battleship Arizona. Hope to see you soon, Elvis. This is a Pacific War Memorial Commission certificate of appreciation to Elvis. This must be an advertisement poster to the benefit show. Another advertisement. This belonged to Elvis, and you can see where he wrote down the songs he wanted to perform. Some of his records, The Beatles, Johnny Cash, Otis Redding, Aretha Franklin. Elvis was a big fan of Anne Marie. So behind the row of benches where we sat toward the back of the room is this piano that had been in the music room. There was a Christmas special last year where an artist played this piano in the Graceland chapel. The door into the archiving room is here. We were not allowed to record or take pictures at all. When Tina opened the door, to her surprise, 2 people were actually in there doing a photo shoot with some of Elvis's clothing. Their names were Dina, and I think the man's name was Tom. Looking back though, I don't think it was a photo shoot. I think they were actually taking pictures as part of the archiving process. They were pulling the tops from a rack of very colorful tops. Tina did tell us that Elvis loved tops with sleeves that are cinched at the arm and wrist. Over time, the elastic breaks down, and so they have a person who comes in and she delicately sews something where the elastic is to preserve it. The archiving room has a bunch of shelves and aisles, and shelves were stacked with these dark gray boxes that resemble gift boxes that you'd wrap a shirt in. They were shallow and some were pretty large enough to fit Elvis's top without having to fold it in half. We were shown a few items from the archive, and I wish I would have taken notes so that I could remember them all. One was this hat that Elvis is wearing in this picture. We were shown a denim jacket that he had worn to an event. I can't find the picture online, but on the back of the jacket over the left shoulder was a beige silhouette patch in the shape of a woman's head. I remember on top of one of the shelves in the archiving room, there were these giant stuffed Elvis Lilo and Stitch things that looked like this. Tina said anytime something is licensed with Elvis, that company has to send what they produce to Graceland so that it can go in the archives. Tina said the archival team is always working on archiving Elvis's belongings, and after all these years, they've only gone through, I think she said, like 63% of Elvis's things. But it's been put on hold for a bit because they are currently going through Lisa's belongings. She said Lisa had 90 storage units. Yes, 90. And her daughters had asked Graceland to take all the items and go over them for archiving. Tina said the last giant truckload with boxes was delivered a couple of weeks ago. When it's time to leave the archiving room, you don't walk out through the same door. You go out a door that is on the opposite wall from where you came in, and you make a right out the door and walk down a short hallway. In the hallway, as you walk out, is this dry erase board on the wall. It's on the right-hand side. Tina told us when Baz Luhrmann's movie Elvis was screened here, after the screening and unbeknownst to the staff, he and others signed this board. The Graceland staff wanted to preserve it, so they did so by putting tape over it. This one says, "Thanks from my heart. You have all been so welcoming. Baz Luhrmann." This one says, "Thank you all so much. All my love. Austin." This one says, "You're the best, Tom and Rita." This one says, "It's always been a pleasure being here and seeing you all. Thank you for taking such care of me and my family. God bless, Priscilla Presley." I told Tina that I was going to ask her if Priscilla was banned from Graceland. Tina told me no. She seemed a little annoyed when talking about Priscilla. She said, as a matter of fact, when Riley Keough was there to promote her mom's book, Priscilla surprised everyone by showing up and getting on stage with Riley. Not even the staff knew Priscilla was going to be there. I asked Tina how often Lisa Marie's daughters come to Graceland. She said Riley was there the previous year to make a short movie. I can't remember what it's called, but I think it has something to do with one of her sponsors, like Chanel or something. Tina said to her knowledge, the twins have not been back to Graceland since their mom passed away. That's so sad, the poor girls. A fun fact that Tina told us was that when it's slow or there are no tours scheduled, the guides help out around Graceland by doing things like polishing silver and cleaning. I want to work at Graceland. The only thing I regret is not asking Tina if she's ever been upstairs to clean. I didn't even think about the question. Total ding-dong moment of me. Once we're done with the archive building, a shuttle comes back and takes you back across the street from Graceland to see the exhibits. I did not realize how many exhibits there were. The first exhibit you'll walk into is the Automobile Museum. Nancy said in her book that in 1967, the carport looked like a high-end used car lot. This purple 1956 Cadillac Eldorado is the one Elvis picked up in Houston with June Juanico. It was originally ivory, but he had it custom painted and then trim added back in Memphis. On February 3rd, 1958, he traded it in for a brand new 1958 Cadillac Special 60 model. In 1976, this car was found in a salvage yard by a man who had no idea of its history. After some research and learning it had once belonged to Elvis, the man eventually paid $30,000 to have it restored so it could be returned to Elvis, but sadly, Elvis passed away before it was completed. This is Elvis's 1956 Continental Mark II that he purchased in Miami after trading in his Lincoln that woman had graffitied all over with lipstick. He used this car often and even drove it to New Orleans in 1958 to film King Creole. This 1960 Rolls-Royce Silver Cloud is the first Rolls Elvis ever purchased. He got it at Coventry Motors in Beverly Hills on September 3rd, 1960. He would drive it around Los Angeles, Las Vegas, and Memphis. This is his 1966 Rolls-Royce Silver Cloud. Elvis traded this car in, and it eventually was owned by TV star Michael Landon and also country music artist Charlie Rich. Here's the car that was in blue Hawaii. Elvis loved it so much that he bought it. These are some motorcycles Elvis owned. Here is a boat he named after his mom, Gladys. It's a red and white 16-foot Wizard. The boat was used by Elvis and the Memphis Mafia on McKellar Lake located on the Mississippi River before Tom Parker donated it to the Boy Scouts of America in 1962. Here's Elvis's Commodore captain hat. This is Elvis's American Motorcycle Association membership card that expired December 31st, 1958. This says, this letter dated August 15, 1976 from Logan Sons documents the delivery of 3 Harley-Davidson motorcycles to Elvis, which he rejected because he was dissatisfied with their color. The letter reads, Mr. Elvis Presley, in reference to the 3 Harley-Davidson motorcycles and 1 jacket ordered by you through Logan Sons. The motorcycles were delivered completely serviced by our supplier with all of the registered papers in your name. The motorcycles were refused because of color. We received your check in the amount of $1,644.34, which we are holding in our account. This check is to cover the cost of the jacket, our expenses, and restocking charges when we receive them. As far as our office is concerned, we release you of all responsibility and we will mail you an itemized settlement as soon as we get all the figures. Sylvia Logan for Logan Sons. This pedal car was used by Lisa Marie and her friends at Graceland. Elvis tried it out a few times, but he preferred his motorized toys. This says, Elvis enjoyed racing around the driveway at Graceland on go-karts with friends and family. This says, legend has it that this Stutz Blackhawk was originally ordered for Frank Sinatra, but charmed away from the car dealer by Elvis. This car was presented to Elvis at the Las Vegas International Hotel in 1970 and was the first ever Stutz Blackhawk to be delivered in the United States. The car, although now fully restored, was totaled by a hired driver on July 1st, 1971. This says, the Centaur was a trike produced in 1974 and 1975 by Rupp Industries and was the only true street legal machine Rupp made. Elvis could be seen cruising down Elvis Presley Boulevard and Union Avenue in Memphis driving the Centaur on a regular basis. The Centaur came in 4 colors, red, blue, white, and yellow. It was advertised as half-cycle, half-economy car and featured a 340cc Kohler 2-cycle oil-injected engine that got 30 miles per gallon. This is what the dash looks like. This says, this Super Trek was custom made for Elvis by Ron Elliott at Super Cycle in Memphis. It has a 1600cc 65 horsepower VW engine and fiberglass body. Elvis once received a ticket for riding the Super Trek without a helmet, thinking it was okay since the vehicle was registered as a car. He loved driving 3-wheelers because he could take someone riding with him on the backseat. This says, Elvis purchased the Stutz Blackhawk in September 1974. It is said to have been one of his favorite cars. The interior features custom ordered red leather seats and gold plated accents. Elvis was driving this car when he drove through the gates of Graceland for the last time on August 16, 1977. This is a 1969 Mercedes 280 SL. The sign says, Elvis purchased this car on December 8, 1970 as a gift for Priscilla. This is one of her most treasured keepsakes. She sent this car to Graceland for permanent display from her California home. This was Sam Phillips's Cadillac that he purchased brand new. Many Sun Records artists rode in the car. Elvis, Jerry Lee Lewis, Johnny Cash, Carl Perkins, Roy Orbison, Charlie Rich, and Billy Lee Riley. Sam gifted the car to a private party, but the title still lists Sun Records as the owner. This says, this 1975 Lincoln Mark IV was originally purchased by Elvis in October 1974. Produced as a 2-door coupe between 1972 and 1976, the Lincoln Mark IV succeeded the very successful Mark III. The upright grille design, reminiscent of a Rolls-Royce, was continued, and the Mark IV introduced fashionable opera windows. The cars shared their basic structure with Ford's Thunderbird, with both cars also sharing the Wixom, Michigan assembly lines. Elvis customized the interior. The next exhibit available is the Tom Parker exhibit. Tina said it had only been opened a month. It's small, comparatively speaking. There was a photo album, but I didn't see anything worth capturing. This is from when Elvis returned from Germany and filmed GI Blues. This is a certificate of appreciation to Parker for outstanding public service in fundraising for the USS Arizona Memorial. Now I'm in the small exhibit dedicated to Elvis's Army days. This is Elvis's official Army fatigues. This is the bill for services to obtain passports for Vernon and Lamar Fike, $38.70. Elvis's Eisenhower suit. Elvis's dress uniform and trunk. This is the jacket that Elvis gave to Priscilla at the airport the day he left Germany. This is Tom Parker's notes about Elvis meeting Frank Sinatra at Fort Dix, New Jersey. It reads, 1960, time schedule. I can't decipher what it says on the right above the squiggly line. Maybe draw? Then it says, Elvis in theater number 2. Last activity at chapel number 2 section. Exit on New Jersey. Corner Camden and 20th. Colonel Sullivan. Call 4131. 7:30. 9 to 10 p.m. This is his armed forces report of transfer or discharge document. This is Elvis's tan dress army jacket and the trunk Elvis used to ship some of his belongings back to Memphis after the army. Now I'm in the archive exhibit that displays some of Elvis's belongings. This sign reads, The Graceland Archives Experience, Photo Collection. Our photography collection consists of over 90,000 images, many of which you will you will see used throughout the exhibits here at Graceland. We have cataloged and digitized the photos into a searchable database management system, which allows us to search the collection quickly. Object collection. Our object collection consists of items both on display and in storage. We consider any item to be an object if it is not a textile, photograph, document, or piece of memorabilia. Our collection contains more than 3,400 items, including all of the furniture on display at Graceland Mansion. Here are some stamps that say Give and Elvis, and Here Elvis on RCA records and tapes. Some bottles of Elvis's favorite brand of water, Mountain Valley Water. There's a television that he shot. Tina said the TV actually still works because the bullet missed the tube inside. Some of his books, from left to right based off what I can see. Clinics in endocrinology, a couple of Bibles, Gone with the Wind, The Liveliest Art, and the complete illustrated book of yoga. There's another worn Bible. Elvis's EPE Football League. There's Elvis. Here's a play design by Elvis. The bottom reads, "This one takes a little time, so how about some good blocking? FB has to go hard. RE has to carry good fake." Okay, so I had to text my husband the picture, and I asked him what FB and RB were, and here's what he texted back. Fullback and right end, I'm guessing, but fullback doesn't usually line up that far away from the running back. Then, in a second text, my husband said, "There aren't enough players on the field." This display has various games and game pieces from the Presley family's personal collection. The Monopoly box top and bingo cards and markers were found in the steamer trunk the family used when they moved from Tupelo to Memphis. This display sign says, Elvis's sense of style was evident in the way he decorated Graceland. When he purchased the estate, he was asked how he planned to decorate his new home. Elvis responded, quote, "This is going to be a lot nicer than Red Skelton's house when I get it how I want it. For the living, dining, and sunrooms, I want purple walls with white corduroy drapes," end quote. Fortunately, Elvis's mother, Gladys, had a more conservative sense of style, which prevailed in 1957. In 1974, Graceland underwent a significant redecoration. The previously conservative living room was transformed into a French provincial theme featuring red velvet furniture, red satin draperies, oil lamps, mermaid tables, peacock-stained glass panels, and a red shag carpet. The decor was bold and vibrant, reflecting Elvis's unique style. However, the red decor was not just about style. It also provided a sense of comfort and coziness. The space feels fun and inviting, truly embodying a home in every sense of the word. It is clear that Graceland was designed as an oasis for Elvis, his family, and his closest friends. Every detail was crafted by a creative spirit, intending for the house to bring him joy at every turn, a place he could escape to simply by walking across the hall. This display showcases the original furnishings from Graceland as they were in 1974. The oil lamps have been carefully restored by Graceland's archives team and in-house electrician to their original condition from when Elvis purchased them in 1974. These are receipts from the redecoration. The most expensive single item I see on the first receipt is the large chair at $799. On the second receipt, it's the green clock at $649. The total was $7,367.33, which today would be about $58,200. Here are a couple of phones and an upside-down dog figurine and another Bible. Now I'm in the Elvis the Entertainer exhibit. This exhibit has my favorite room, the jumpsuit room. This is the piano from the iconic photo. This is the key to Tupelo that Elvis received when he returned in 1956. These are the shoes he wore during the performance, as you can see here. His robe from Kid Galahad. This is the jacket worn by Elvis in the movie Viva Las Vegas as he sings around the piano with Anne Margaret's character, Rusty Martin. This jacket is from Live a Little, Love a Little. This one is from Spin Out. This is the leather jacket Elvis wears while playing Mike Edwards in It Happened at the World's Fair. This says, opening scene outfit. This outfit was designed by Bill Ballou and was worn by Elvis during the opening scene of the 1968 TV special Elvis. This says, club scene outfit. This outfit was designed by Bill Ballou and was worn by Elvis during the club scene of the 1968 TV special Elvis. This says, supper club scene outfit. This outfit was designed by Bill Ballou and was worn by Elvis during the supper club scene. Elvis would later wear the velvet jacket when he met President Nixon in 1970. Here's his outfit from the gospel medley scene. I love that segment. They even have it staged on similar steps from in the special. This says, telegram to Colonel Parker from Tom Sarnoff, confirming their phone conversation about deal they struck about a television special that would become the 1968 TV special titled Elvis. Then it says, telegram from Elvis to his manager, Colonel Parker, joking, asking if he could stake a better deal for his upcoming television special. The telegram from Sarnoff reads, confirming our phone conversation. We have a deal for production of one Elvis feature and one TV special according to terms discussed between us during the last couple of days. Congratulations to both of us. We are all extremely pleased to have Elvis as a member of another branch of our RCA family. Looking forward to a long and successful association. We'll discuss details with you next week. Best personal regards, Tom Sarnoff, NBC Burbank, California. The telegram from Elvis to Parker reads, Dear Colonel, is that the best she could do? Respectfully yours, Elvis. This says, tickets to Elvis's 1968 NBC TV special, Elvis. The NBC TV special included a live studio audience. Filming was split into 2 days, Thursday, June 27th and Saturday, June 29th. The audience was given complimentary tickets to attend the taping. Here it is, the black leather suit. So amazing to see it in person. This is the contract for the special with notes written in the margins. If I Can Dream, one of my top favorite songs of Elvis's. This is the last suit on display in relation to the comeback special. I always thought it was white in color on the special, but it's more of a cream color. Directly behind this suit is the Elvis sign you can take pictures in front of. This says, Tablecloth Contract. After a successful first performance, Elvis and the Colonel negotiate with the International Hotel to discuss an extension of his contract. This negotiation took place at the cafe inside of the hotel. They did not have any paper, so they wrote out and signed the deal on the coffee-stained tablecloth that was adorning their table. The contract was later revised and rewritten as a traditional paper copy. Here are some invoices for Elvis's jumpsuits and other stage costumes. These items can be pretty expensive. The Eagle Cape was $785, which is equivalent to about $6,200 today. Turquoise jumpsuit was $1,800, which is about $14,200 today. Original sketches from Bill Ballou. These are some of the outfits that appeared in the movie Epic. You get a newfound appreciation for these jumpsuits when you see them up close. The amount of details that go into it is incredible. This says, Elvis wore this custom-made blue IC Costume Company outfit during his rehearsals in Buffalo, New York, April 1972. The cameras were rolling and captured this rehearsal for his second concert documentary. Here are some of his belts. The blue one is really pretty. They're all so elaborate. Okay, here it is. The jumpsuit room. These videos don't do this room any justice, seriously. It is absolutely magnificent in person. To think Elvis wore every single one of these. So the way the room is set up, when you walk in, start from the wall on the left and then continue to the back wall and wrap around to the wall on the right. Why? Because the jumpsuits are in chronological order. So this is the beginning. You can see how they're on the plainer side. Tina said this black one, Elvis had a 20-inch waist when he wore it. 28 inches. I really like how the capes are lined or have designs on the underside. So now you can see how the jumpsuits are getting more decorative and ornate. These are the ones that are on the right wall, so the more recent jumpsuits that Elvis had made. Here's the original American Eagle jumpsuit that I thought was at Marlowe's barbecue. Elvis wore it during the Aloha special. There's the popular story of Elvis throwing this cape off the stage, and a reporter ended up with it, and the cape eventually made its way back to Graceland. But Tina said the belt went missing and has yet to be found. She joked that whoever had it probably kept it for years, and their grandchildren, not knowing how significant it was, donated it. All right, here is his sundial suit. Tina said it's formerly known as the sundial suit, but many fans refer to it as the Aztec suit. This is something that stood out to me, and let me know if you see it too. This is the jumpsuit Elvis wore in his last televised concert special. Ginger, in her book, wrote, quote, because Elvis struggled with fluid retention and occasionally got cortisone shots for pain, I had never looked at him as being that overweight. There were just some days when he seemed a bit bloated, end quote. This jumpsuit does not appear to me to be that much larger than, say, the American Eagle jumpsuit. Tina pointed it out too, that his appearance in Elvis in concert made it look like Elvis was like 300 pounds. According to Tina, he weighed around 260 pounds at the time of his passing, which, given his 6-foot frame, may not have been as extreme as some people assume. Here's a side-by-side. This is the next exhibit. You hear all the time about how talented Elvis was as an artist, but this puts it into perspective. Just amazing. Look at all these records. Here's the suit he wore when he made the When I Was a Child speech in 1971. The next exhibit was called 90 for 90. It was launched in January of last year in commemoration of Elvis's 90th birthday, and Tina said it will be taken down soon, so I didn't want to miss it. There's no video allowed in this exhibit, so I tried to get as many photos as I could, but I was kind of in a rush because my husband and daughter went ahead of me to Vernon's restaurant, and I didn't want them to wait too long. Note to self, next time I go to Graceland, I'm going by myself. Look at how cool this is. This is Elvis's crayon box from circa 1941. Gladys wrote Elvis Presley on the back of the box. This steamer trunk was found in the attic in Graceland during archiving. They were astonished to find very old belongings of Vernon and Gladys and Elvis. The Presleys used this trunk when they moved to Memphis. Look at the pencils and flashlight. Family photo circa 1937. This is the earliest known photo of the Presley family and is cataloged as inventory number 1 in the Graceland Archives collection database. This is the original photo found inside the family steamer trunk. Gladys wrote age 2 on the back in pencil and taken 1937 in ink. This photo captures an early moment in the life of this young family. The family Bible circa 1938. The family Bible is an heirloom passed down through generations, each generation recording their family's milestones in it, including births, deaths, baptisms, marriages, and confirmations. To the Presley family, their Bible holds stories of Sundays past, as the family patriarch Vernon would carry it to and from church. On the inside front cover, written in pencil, is Vernon's name and the family's address. The worn spine denotes its frequent usage. Postcards from prison circa 1938. Found tucked inside the family steamer trunk were several handwritten postcards sent from Vernon to Gladys while he was incarcerated at Parchman State Penitentiary. In 1938, Vernon was convicted of forgery and sentenced to 3 years in prison. He only served 8 months, and during that time, Vernon and Gladys would write letters and postcards back and forth. Besides occasional visits to Parchman, these few postcards were how the family communicated during Vernon's time away. The postcard dated July 9th, 1938 reads, Dear Gladys, I will write you a few lines to let you know I am all right. Hope you all the same. I was glad to hear that the baby was better. I hope he is all right now. You all come this Sunday. If you see and tell Mr. Powell to come too, I want to tell him something wild. Please answer soon. With love, from Vernon. This is Elvis's Memphis City Schools diploma from Humes High School. They spelled his middle name Aron. This is dated June 3rd, 1953, and you can see his tassel on the left. Okay, so I saw this letter and I took a picture of the sign next to it thinking it was related to that letter. But when I got home and looked closer, the sign is talking about a completely different letter. But there was only one letter in that display. I'll read the sign anyway, and then I'll read the actual letter. The sign says, This is a letter from Dixie Locke circa 1954. She wrote, My dearest darling, just a line in answer to your wonderful letter I haven't received as of yet. But never give up, as I always say. Honey, I don't know how you feel about this, but I can't go on like we have been. I want so very much to be your wife. No one else but myself knows the empty feeling I have when I'm not with you. Just think of the wonderful times we could have together. I know that I shouldn't even think of marriage yet because I am just at the age when most girls like to go places with different boys. But I also know, at least I think, that a boy thinks of a girl just as a thrill. And after it's done, there is no more love. And 2, I know that most boys are having too much fun, especially at your age, to even think of marriage. And I can't blame them. It's just that after we have been going together for a long time, will your love for me be greater, or will it be slowly fading away each time I'm with you? Darling, I hope not, because I love you more than anything else in the world. I guess you are what I've been looking for always. I've never felt by another boy like I do you, but you are the kind of person that makes everyone love you, especially me. Well, sweetheart, as the bell is about to ring, I will close with these 3 little words, which I mean with all my heart. I love you. So this letter is probably from Dixie too. It says, Southside High, room 212, 9:55 p.m. Hi, handsome. I was just sitting here in study hall thinking of you, and since I haven't written to you in such a long time, I decided I would try again to tell you how much I love you. Darling, when you talk of marriage, I feel so wonderful to know that I'm the lucky girl that you have chosen to be your wife. I can hardly wait until we will be together for good, and there will be no more goodbyes. But I understand how you feel about it, and I'd wait for eternity if you ask me to, because I love you more than anything else in the world. I think about you constantly. You are always on my mind no matter where I am or what I do. It continues on the next page, but obviously I can't see it. Here's Elvis's gold lame suit. These are Elvis merchandise shoes that has his face and autograph and guitar. The sign says, Memphis Charity Show Luncheon, Hotel Claridge, Balinese Room, Saturday, February 25th, 12:30 p.m. This must be one of his shoes from that event. Look at the suit. Looks perfect for the winter. Here are some books: Medical Dictionary and Health Manual, The Prophet by Khalil Gibran. This says, To Elvis, from Robert Kennedy. Some karate and boxing books. This says, Elvis loved cars and loved to give, so it was often that those combined into gifting people cars. This is a list of the vehicles and people he gave cars to on one shopping trip, as well as the corresponding check, which includes Linda Thompson, his then girlfriend. Elvis owned so many cars and keys that he needed a special wallet to keep them organized and would even have custom car keys made. The list states that the following people received 1975 Lincolns: Billy Wayne Smith, Marty Lacker, Richard Davis, Linda Thompson, and Bobby West. A gift of cash in the amount of $800 was given to, quote, salesman. The total amount is $66,481.08, which is the amount the check is in. Both are dated September 23rd, 1974. This says, gifts to Elvis from the Memphis Mafia. Elvis's friends played an important role in his life. Not only did they provide friendship, but they also provided the important roles of security and valet services. His closest group of friends were nicknamed the Memphis Mafia. This Bible was gifted to Elvis in 1964 and features a Memphis Mafia tree of life with the names of all members. This Remington Model XP100 was kept upstairs in Elvis's gun closet and was gifted to him by Jerry Schilling. The sign next to the badge says, Elvis's Shelby County Sheriff's Badge. Shelby County Sheriff's Badge given to Elvis in 1970 by Sheriff Roy Skip Nixon. During Sonny West's wedding reception after party at Graceland, Elvis had a photograph taken of him and the Memphis Mafia, including Sheriff Nixon, proudly showing off their badges. These are receipts from Sonny West's wedding in 1970. Elvis paid for the wedding and was Sonny's best man. The florist was $1,698.85, and it looks like catering for the reception was $600. Tricycle circa 1971. Lisa's first set of wheels. This tricycle was a Christmas gift from Santa in 1971. Lisa was so excited and was ready to ride the bike where she could, and she did. Elvis followed his little girl around that morning, helping her make her way through the house. Elvis's blue leisure suit circa 1975. It's Christmas morning 1975. Lisa comes running down the stairs to see what Santa had brought her. Elvis joins his daughter as she tears through all of the boxes. Elvis was wearing this blue leisure suit that morning. This poem is titled, Why God Made Little Girls. This poem is actually mentioned in Lisa Marie's book, From Here to the Great Unknown. Elvis wrote this karate script circa 1974. He wrote, slogan, the real meaning of karate, helping a person help himself. People love to see an athlete in excellent condition, and the professional karate black belt is going to have to prove that he is such a man. Jen Shui Hong Hai, founder of Taekwondo system Mong Yu. He who hesitates, meditates in a horizontal position. Purpose of karate, to prepare you so that you, it's incomplete here, it's not finished. Physical, mental training and ability to protect ourselves makes us a better human being in life. Be ye gentle as lambs in matters of love, and strong as lions in matters of honor. What is more gentle than a whiff of air or a drop of rain, but in protecting one's self, family, friends, loved ones, flag, God, and country, taking the breath of air. This sign reads, MVP football trophy, cleats, and Green Bay Packers helmet. Elvis loved football more than most people realize. He was truly passionate about it. His mom never let him play in high school, but the game interested him his entire life. He would go over game tape as if he were the coach. He would draw up his own plays. He would watch as many games as he possibly could. He loved the Cleveland Browns and became close friends with their star running backs, Jim Brown. By the time the 1970s rolled around, Elvis was a devout follower of the Pittsburgh Steelers and their star quarterback, Terry Bradshaw. From pickup football games at Guthrie Park in Memphis to playing on a team while stationed in Germany, football was an escape for Elvis, the ultimate team player and the best quarterback to wear an EPE team jersey. Yes, Elvis started his own team made up of close friends and a few celebrities. He was also awarded the trophy displayed here as the MVP of the team he played for in Germany. The Green Bay Packer helmet was gifted to Elvis backstage at his concert in Green Bay by their star quarterback, Bart Starr. Elvis seemed drawn to the physicality of football and held a huge respect for the men who played it. During a rare interview in 1975, he gave some insight into his appreciation for the game. Quote, I have a great ambition to play football, he told radio reporter Harold Johnson. I've always had and still have, believe it or not. The thing I keep up with most is professional football. I know all the players. I know their numbers and who they play for. I watch all the games I can. I get the films from the teams themselves if I can. Next to the entertainment thing and music, football is the thing that I enjoy most. Sorry guys, I didn't get a picture of the trophy. These are some handwritten barn notes and muddy boots circa 1967. This one on the left says, barn kept clean, repairs, feeding troughs, holes in walls, stalls repaired. Hire a man who knows horses to take care of them. Feeding, cleaning, etc. with help from Harold. And then it either says D, wife, or Pee-wee, and personal help from all owners. The one in the middle says, more lights in barn. Blankets for all horses. 3. Keep ropes to catch horses. Grooming EQT. brushes, combs, room for saddles, made especially for that. Each horse equipment kept in order, together, separate, wooden horse. The one on the right says, Billy read to help along with Jerry. Make sure they are saddled correctly. Visit place on 2nd Street for extra equipment. Elvis's barn boots. This is a receipt from Burke's Florist dated March 16, 1968 for a basket of flowers to be delivered to Mrs. Gladys Presley at Forest Hill Cemetery. This is a Western Union money order message dated November 26, 1954 to Vernon Presley from Elvis. It says, the money order paid you herewith is from Elvis Presley at Houston, Texas, and included the following message. Hi babies, here's the money to pay the bills. Don't tell no one how much I sent. I will send more next week. There's a card in the mail. Love, Elvis. Toiletries circa 1970s. Ever wonder what Elvis used to maintain his unbelievable looks? Pantene hairspray, Noxzema, and Neutrogena soap were just a few of the toiletries Elvis would use. The special thing about these items is the memories they can trigger. The sense of smell is something that can bring you right back to that moment. The smell of Brute, Canoe, and High Karate were some smells that would trigger memories of meeting Elvis for thousands who got the chance to give him a hug or a kiss. Remember, Nancy Rourke said she didn't like the smell of Brute and she tried to hide his Brute in the back of the shelf. These are the checkered boots Elvis wore during the press conference on September 4th, 1972, when he announced plans for the Aloha from Hawaii special. These are some of the other items in the display. Elvis's pilgrim hats and a drawing by Bill Ballou. One of Elvis's shirts. One of Elvis's captain hats. These are some of his slot cars and a receipt for building his slot car tracks, $2,021.37. Remember how Elvis would rent out movie theaters like the Memphian to watch movies for hours? The theater would send him a bill of which movies he watched and how many times he'd watch it. It looks like he'd be billed for the operator's time, manager, concessions, and the last one, I'm not sure what it says. A couple of his books, A Scientific Search for the Face of Jesus, and also Self-Realization. These are some microphones Elvis used throughout the years. The gold one in the middle is the one he used in Las Vegas in 1969 and can be seen in photographs of his first performances at the International. This is a letter from Johnny Cash that was found tucked away in one of Elvis's books. The two were friends for decades. The letter says, Hi Elvis, it's been a long time since we saw you, but June and I still admire you and wish you well in all you do. Wanted to see your closing show the other night, but John Carter had a cold and fever, and we stayed with him. Sorry we missed you. Good luck and God bless you, John. This display shows some of the things Elvis would take on tour when he started performing live again. So after the 90 for 90 exhibit, there's an exhibit of what looks like props from a movie about Sun Studio or Elvis. I don't know, I kind of rushed through it because my family was waiting for me at Vernon's restaurant still. There was one more exhibit that I stopped into. It was a new one that they had just added, and it was all about Lisa Marie. I didn't take any photos because on the door into the exhibit, I read, no video, no photography. It wasn't until I walked out the same door when I realized it said no flash photography, not no photography. Ugh. It was a small but beautiful exhibit. There were a lot of dresses and outfits she had been photographed in, and some of her accessories like sunglasses and purses and wallet. I spent about 10 minutes in there. Okay, so with the VIP pass, you get a free meal at Vernon's restaurant that gets you an entree, 2 sides, cornbread or a biscuit, and a soft drink. I got the brisket, cornbread, baked beans, and collard greens because I love collard greens. The beans were really good and had a bit of a spicy kick to it, but not too spicy. The greens were amazing, maybe a little on the salty side, but still really good. The cornbread was fluffy and so good. So the brisket battled me for a bit. It was kind of tough to cut. It was all right. After lunch, we headed to the Lisa Marie. It's a bit of a walk, but it's peaceful. There's even a creek or a babbling brook or whatever you call it. To get to the Lisa Marie, first you go through the gift shop, and when you walk outside, it's on your left. TCB. In real life, it almost looks fake, like a prop. You go up these stairs. By the way, same rules as Graceland, no video and no flash photography. Here's the cockpit, but there's plexiglass so you can't stick your head in. When you enter the front part of the cabin, on your left is a small closet. You can see some with jackets and luggage. Across from the closet on your right is a restroom. Or I think it's a restroom. I didn't see a toilet, but maybe it's under that brown cushion. Walking ahead, a long brown sofa is on the left. Here's what it looks like when you're facing the cockpit. On the right is a table and 4 chairs. Just behind the table and chairs is a long green sofa. By the way, the sofas have seatbelts. Cup holders and a lamp. And TV. Across from the green sofa is another table with 4 chairs. Here's the view looking toward the front of the plane. Walking toward the middle part of the cabin on your left is a bar. Mountain Valley water on top of a bin labeled waste. On the right side of the bar is a Gatorade bottle on top of a bin labeled ice. Funny story, my daughter said, "Is that what Gatorade bottles looked like back then?" These are bottles for liquor labeled gin, rum, and scotch. Past the bar is a conference/dining table. Just past the table is a chair and table, and next to that are phones and a stereo system. Past this is a lounge area with a small table. Finally, at the back of the plane is Elvis's bedroom. When you walk in, the bed is on the left. Look at the big seatbelt across the bed. On the right is a chair and television. Next to the bed is a lamp and a telephone. At the foot of the bed is a stool and I think a small dresser. Across from the dresser is the TV. Past the stool and small dresser on the left side is the vanity and a set of drawers. In Ginger's book, she says the bedroom includes a dressing area and half bath. I'm assuming this is the dressing area, which has plexiglass over it. This is the inside of the half bath. So typically, for something to be a half bath, in California real estate anyway, it needs to have 2 of 4 components: a toilet, a sink, a bathtub, or a shower. I only saw a sink, but maybe the second component is hidden somewhere. You exit the Lisa Marie, and next to it is Elvis's other plane, the Jetstar, which is much smaller than I imagined. Look at how much smaller it is than the Lisa Marie. There's a ramp that leads you up to the entrance. Here's the cockpit. It's so small, the pilots must have had to step on their seats to get in. Turn around and there's this seat, or I don't know what it's supposed to be. There's absolutely no literature or signs in the Jetstar explaining this. As for this, I think maybe Graceland had it stripped so that natural sunlight would light up the interior, unless they flew the plane like this. Here's the cabin. There's plexiglass so you can't even poke your head in to see all of it. This is what Ginger wrote in her book about her first time in the Jetstar. Quote, "As Patsy and Gigi took a seat on a lime-colored couch, I followed Elvis down the plane's small aisle past yellow chairs facing each other with small tables between them. Patterned fabric lined the walls near each window." This looks like a little galley in the back. This is also the flight where she wrote, quote, "The cabin remained fairly quiet until a while into the flight when Elvis looked over his shoulder toward Patsy and Gigi and said, 'You know, I would like to see Ginger in new clothes and jewelry.' Elvis stood up and took a few steps to the rear of the plane. He returned carrying a small worn black square case by its handle. Placing the case on the table between us, he sat down, opened it, and took out a long necklace made of black plastic beads with a cross at the center," end quote. And that was it for my day at Graceland. I arrived for my VIP reservation at 9:15 a.m. and it was about 5:30 p.m. by the time I left. Next on the agenda was checking into the guest house at Graceland Hotel. This hotel is beautiful. Look at how cute the lamps in the hallway are when you're walking to your room. EP. Here's our room. It had this great wall art of Elvis's gold lame jacket. Here's our view. I upgraded our room to the courtyard view, but honestly, I would have rather looked at Elvis Presley Boulevard. Graceland is over here, so if you don't upgrade to the pool view, you may even get a view of Graceland. Right here, they have 2 shuffleboard tables, and throughout the courtyard are cute gas-powered fire pits. The bathroom is nice too. The shower has 2 options, a rainforest shower head or a regular tilted shower head. Look at this wall art. Everything is Elvis themed. I love the little details like the inside of the dressers. The TV lets you choose which Elvis era theme you want while browsing. The really cool part about this TV is there's one channel that shows the 68 Comeback Special 24/7 and another channel that shows the Aloha from Hawaii 24/7. There's even a channel where you can tap into the Graceland live cam. The room comes with an empty mini fridge, but there's no microwave. We did order dinner from the EP grill, but I didn't get any photos. I was wiped out. We checked out the next day because we were going to continue our vacation in Hot Springs, Arkansas. But before we left, I had to try Crystal Burger, which I read in Anita Wood's book, and baby Let's Play house. There's always room for friends, new and old, in the home of the blues, soul, and rock and roll. I had read Elvis would order at least a couple dozen burgers for him and the guys, and I thought, wow, that's a lot of food. I didn't realize they were so small, like White Castle burgers. We got chili cheese fries too, because why not? I really like these burgers, probably more than White Castle. Chili fries were good too, standard for a burger chain. I can see how Elvis and the guys could eat dozens of these. 12 cheeseburgers, chili fries, and 2 drinks came out to $31.26, and we didn't even eat all the burgers. Next was Vernon's house at 1266 Dolan Drive. Tina told us that the current homeowner has not kept up with this house and that it's in disrepair, but it doesn't look too bad. She said as soon as the owner isn't asking a ridiculous amount of money for the house, Graceland wants to buy it. Okay, can we talk about the weird placement of the doorbell? Why was it done that way? I looked up the prior sales online, and the house was sold in November 1995 for $145,000. Then it was sold again in February 2006, but at a depreciated amount for $49,000. I'm not familiar with the Tennessee housing market, but I wonder what happened that would cause the list price to decrease that drastically. The house sold again 3 months later, but for $125,000. There's a sign on the wall that says, Vernon Presley, father of Elvis Presley, lived here. Here are some souvenirs that I brought back. Look at how cute these TCB earrings are. For some reason, they didn't have TLC earrings. An Elvis wine glass. It says Elvis. Then TCB. Then a picture of Elvis, but I don't think it really looks like him. And a guitar. Elvis Presley chapstick in peanut butter and banana flavor. It had a faint taste of peanut butter more than anything. Here's my favorite, Mountain Valley water, the same brand Elvis would drink. Funnily enough, I didn't get this in Memphis, but in Hot Springs, Arkansas. My daughter and I agreed this is the best tasting water we've ever had. That concludes my trip to Tupelo and Graceland. It was such an incredible time. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope that I brought a little bit of Elvis Presley magic to you, wherever you are.